this one, I'm going to write a monomial equation right here. It's just going to say x and the power. Y'all, I'm just going to write even, because all even powers act the same way. So it could be 246, 2,202. As long as it's even, they're all going to behave the same way. Here, I am going to have x to an odd power. I don't know why that's there. This is a new update. So this row right here, I'm just going to add a leading negative. So it is going to be f of x equals negative x to an even power. And then f of x negative x to an odd power. And we'll talk about those roots in a moment. Now, guys, the deal is anything to an even power looks like a parabola, like it behaves the same way. Anything to an odd power looks like a cube root function. Cubic function, not a cube root, cubic function. So, for even, if you could, you can just sketch a parabola. With arrows pointing both up. Your odd function is going to look like this. And then down here, this row, we're just going to reflect it over the x-axis. So it is going to be an upside down parabola. And make sure you draw your cubic right. It should have a down arrow on the right-hand side here. All right, then we're going to have our radicals. And guys, watch how I write these radicals. Let me draw my sign first. So down here, I'm going to write f of x equals, and then I'm going to I made that space as big as I could because I want to write the word even here. And then same thing over here. I'm going to try to draw this same thing over here, but I'm going to write the word odd. Okay, and guys, from here, remember this looks like a square root function. So it's going to start right here. And you know, square roots have a branch that just kind of shoot off to the right. Now, for this odd function, look, it has that piece, but remember, you can take the root of a negative number. So it has a branch down here too. Just going to make some summaries down here at the bottom. First of all, look at these two graphs. Anything with the even, what do you see from here? What do you notice about them? Is there anything that you can just say a general statement about graphs with even powers? They're parabolas. Good. And what's so significant about parabola? Like, how come that isn't a parabola? How come that's a parabola? Why do they look different? Yes, because they have the same end behavior. So down here, guys, anything to an even is going to have same end behavior. Anything to an odd is going to have opposite end behavior. And then we're going to talk about what they both have. Actually, look at all the graphs. What do all the graphs all go through? Very good. Guys, all monomials go through the origin. And I'm just going to abbreviate monomials. What else do you recognize? They all almost have two arrows, except which one? Which one only has one arrow? The radical with the even root. So, even will have domain as all real numbers. So will your odd. But, well, let's focus on the odd. Yes. If you notice, for the odd guys, they all go below the origin, which means their domain and the range is the same. Negative infinity to positive infinity. Negative infinity to positive infinity if I scan from the bottom up. Let's go back to the evens. What do you notice about the evens? Do they have any extrema? Any absolute maximums or minimums? That has a maximum. This has a minimum. This has a minimum. So evens will have, I'm going to say extrema because extrema means both maxes and mins. Is there any absolute max or min over here? No. Will not have extrema. Okay, that's a lot of test questions right there. Oh my goodness sakes, one more super important thing. If you notice, this right side arrow, is that pointing up or down? Up. What about this one? What about this one? It's up. It looks like it flattens out, but it's up. What about this one? Why are those up? These are down. Why are those four highlighted up? Why aren't those pointing up? Because of that. That's amazing. If you walk away with anything from this page, that's what you need to walk away with. I'm going to write it out here. All positive graphs are always up on the right. All positive graphs. I'm going to abbreviate. I'm not writing graphs. I'm writing equations because next week you're not looking at graphs. You're looking at equations. All positive equations are up on right. And I am talking about the right side arrow. That arrow is always pointing up. All positive equations will always have x and y values increasing in the end. All right, just like over here on the flip side, all negative equations will always be down on the right. Whoops, on right. And guys, if you notice, I wrote the word all. That's a pretty definitive word. I'm talking about all equations that we could ever think of are going to follow these rules. Rational, radical, power, polynomial, they all behave like that. All right, y'all.